Hi dealers, it's Scott from CRESSI Australia, and this video today is to give you a sneak peek in what's coming from CRESSI for the 2020 season. One of the things that I'm most excited about is actually rubber. CRESSI Spain has been leading the world in production of rubber, and we've eventually convinced them to supply it to us. We've had a lot of requests through some of our high-end spearfishing shops. We've eventually been able to source this product. So I'm going to run you through the specs of it, what makes it different and how it works. First thing I want to point out, if you look down the end of it, is the black dot in the middle. This is a dual density rubber. There is a 35 duro on the outside in the amber section and a 45 duro in the middle. CRESSI Spain have pretty much patented the technique of how to produce this rubber, and there's a huge number of benefits that come from this type of rubber. Number one, let's talk about microbore. So microbore is what this is. It's a tiny hole in the middle. What it allows us to do is get more rubber in a smaller space, and typically microbores offer more energy than an equivalent. Where this rubber is different is that the inner durometer, where you force the bead or the knot into, is a 45 duro. 45 duro allows it to be stronger in that section, so when you're forcing the bead in, and when the constrictor knot is tied around the bead, it will stop premature failure of the rubber, which is traditionally where they wear out and snapping at that point. The other thing it does, which is most interesting about it, is it helps the rubber retain energy once loaded. There's lots of good rubbers on the market, but what we know about some of the top rated rubbers is once you load them, over a certain number of minutes, they will start to lose energy. Some of the top branded rubbers can lose up to 30% of their energy over an hour. So if you're out shooting blue water fish, and you're hunting, as you're sitting there with your gun loaded and you haven't fired, that rubber is losing power. Having a solid core and a stronger core down the middle enables this rubber to hold greater energy. We had it tested here in Australia, had it independently tested by one of our dealers. They recorded less than a 10% drop in energy over an hour, which makes it the best rubber they've ever tested. Interestingly enough, they also tested the stretch, and it has over 400% stretch, and we'll talk about that a bit later. The next thing that makes this rubber unique is, and where it gets its name from, is the pure term. This rubber is made from pure latex outside of that durometer on the inside to a 35 duro. Where it is different is there is no accelerant used to cure this rubber. If you use an accelerant during the rubber curing process, you get a reactive rubber. So what a reactive rubber typically does is it starts off hard to start and then it will give. And some of the top selling rubbers on the market in Australia are reactive rubbers. This is a progressive rubber. So progressive rubber, to get a progressive effect, a consistent stretch and consistent force, to get latex to react like that, you need not to use any accelerants in the process. The interesting thing, to get this dual density and to use a naturally cured rubber is quite an intensive process, and because of that, this is only made in 3 meter lengths. We cannot do bulk, they cannot supply bulk. It is made at 3 meter lengths, they cut it off, they QC it, and they keep producing it in 3 meter lengths. So what we end up with coming into Australia this season will be 14, 15 and 16 mil microbore, 400% stretch, 35 duro on the outside, 45 duro on the inside with microbore. This will be the competitive edge that any roller gun, any blue water Spiro, anybody looking to get better performance out of their gun will be in for. The other advantage of it, it comes in, excuse the package a bit beaten up, pre-made packs. So no cutting it, no measuring it, they'll all be over 3 meters, pre-gold, ready to go. Check them out, they're in this year's program. Thanks.